Hi, my name is Jackson.
I'm Bradley.
And this is another episode of Live for the Journey podcast. Today we'll be talking about sports.
And basically revisiting a lot of the action from the preseason and visiting some of our sources through Crew Athletics and discussing where the landscape lies heading into the regular season for a multitude of Crew sports. Yeah. As the sports editor and assistant sports editor, we've had a lot of opportunities to get in touch with and follow a multitude of Crew sports at the beginning of this semester. And we just wanted to talk and express some of our thoughts and concerns, not only as journalists, but as fans, as we move on from the preseason, from some of our major sports, and discuss some of the things we've noticed, some concerns, and some things we look forward to with you guys. The first thing I think, and this is always going to be the first thing on everyone's mind, is UMHB football. It's what we're known for. It's what we're expected to always be dominant at. And I think we've kind of come out of the gate a little slow, especially by our, national championship standards, and not necessarily, how would you phrase it?
Well, definitely not. They definitely came out the gate slow.
Yeah.
I know we played number 8 NAIA team Bethel. They're a very good squad, but it just felt like this wasn't UMHB football, at least compared to years ago under quarterbacks like Kyle King or Coach Fredenberg. Mm-hmm. Previous coaches and previous players, it just feels like this is not what we're used to.
Yeah. Talking with Coach Harmon before the game against Bethel, that was one thing he emphasized, was that Bethel was a quality program. They made it deep into the NAIA tournament. Like you said, they were number 8 in the country. NAIA is no joke. Scholarship athletes, hard to compete with for sure, but still, it felt like even though the score might have been close for a lot of the game, it felt a lot to be desired. And I had the chance to speak with Coach Harmon recently after the game, and he expressed kind of the same concerns. Talent-wise, he believes that we were able to compete with obviously a very quality team, and we can compete with anybody. He raves a lot about some of the transfers that we're bringing in, but I think one of the big messages he has sent out is he wants to see, and I think we can all feel it from the players and why we feel the way we feel, is there's just not a lot of belief in each other, and that has led to the fans not necessarily believing in the team. And what do you think we can do to change that feeling? I mean, as journalists, it's our responsibility to connect our fans with the game. What do you think they need to show us and we need to show each other to change the direction?
Well, I think after coming off such it was a disappointing season, coming off missing the playoffs for the first time in a number of years, I truly think that they need to show some winning and just to feel like we're back to the usual Crew, and that just didn't happen this past week. The defense looked stout, but the defense also looked stout last year. Everybody's eyes were on the offense, and it just felt like they didn't really deliver. Yeah.
Well, not only were, coming to UMHB football, there's going to be a lot of eyes on you. I mean, like I said, national powerhouse program that's expectation is playoffs at minimum, and I think a lot of people are unfairly rushing to blame Isaac Fay. He's under a lot of scrutiny, and once again, got to talk to Coach Harmon, and I don't know about you, but I saw some moments in that game, especially, if you watch that game coming out of halftime, they put together their best drive, and you could see how, the feeling is that, like you said, coming off of a guy like Kyle King, like we've taken a step back, and we as a fan base are showing that feeling, and I feel like that has grown into the locker room as well. But if you look at the game, if we have enough talent to make his job easier, and I feel like Larry Harmon, that is his team's goal, to make the game easier for Isaac. We have 2 great transfer running backs that I thought had pretty solid games, but the one thing he reiterated to me after the game was, you can see they're timid. They don't believe that the O-line is going to block for them, and the O-line doesn't believe that they're going to hit their holes. So it makes it a lot easier for a team to crunch down and take Isaac out of the game when the run game takes themselves out of the game. But when we have our best drive of the game, it was an 11-play drive. 8 of them were positive.
It looked really
positive. It's like then you can see Isaac get comfortable because they're just making his job easier. The defense starts stacking 6, 7 guys in the box. Well, yeah, anyone's going to be able to succeed in that. So I think one, he needs definitely to pick it up. I think everyone's aware of that, but at the same time, we can't play the blame game and start slandering individuals when it's very obviously a collective effort. And it's not even a talent thing, I don't think.
I don't think it's a talent thing either. I think coming at the half, I 100% agree with you. We saw some really good glimpses. I think in the first half, the first few drives, he was putting something together, and then it kind of turned around. After the fumble, he looked really inconsistent anywhere after that. Mm-hmm. I will say that first drive was probably their best drive all game. It looked like we were watching a really awesome offense. They put together a beautiful drive, mostly running, but that last touchdown play, which was an awesome grab by the tight end, and it just felt like after that touchdown, they didn't know what to do. And I don't know if that comes from the coaching or if it comes from the players' point of view. It just felt like we kept running the same play over and over again, especially on offense.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people feel like, you can agree or disagree, that watching the defense and the offense, it felt like both of them throughout the game were more mentally tired than physically tired. I think the offense came out and they didn't look so bad in the beginning of the game. They didn't look so bad in the beginning of the second half. Obviously, like, they looked well prepared and they had a game plan that could work when they stuck to it. However, like you said, that fumble, bang, bang play that, could have went one way or the other. It's just those little momentum shifts, little unfortunate plays. Isaac throwing a couple interceptions where he's hit as he throws. The defense being put in some bad spots. It's like I feel like those things just over time, on top of the physical fatigue, kind of drained the guys and took away that belief in each other and the system that Harmon was talking about. And I think looking forward to this weekend against a team that probably isn't quite as good as Bethel, and
definitely not.
And I think people know what this weekend is supposed to be. I think it'll be a good experience for the boys to get some live reps against an live opponent that's not each other. And I think moving forward, hopefully get a win in the win column, you'll start to see some of that belief and some of those worries really start to diminish away.
I 100% agree with you here. Just some things that kind of concern me as a fan and as someone who's watched the game. One, this win doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It doesn't count for anything. It can't count for on the NCAA. So that's one thing that's slightly concerning. Although it'll be a good moral victory, I don't know how much it does to persuade the fans or anything. But my question to you is, that mental preparation, does that come down to coaching or to the player's perspective?
I think talking to Harmon and talking to some of the players around campus, I think it mostly comes down to the players, just because no one can make you believe in yourself and believe in each other. I mean, that just comes down to the players. The coaching staff, I mean, they obviously, it's their job to provide the game plan. The players need to buy in to that, and they need to buy into each other, regardless of how successful it is or not. I mean, it's a corny old saying, but the Jimmies and Joes are more important than the X's and the O's. So whatever the coach is putting forward, someone in that locker room has to step up and say, hey, it's on us. Yeah.
Well,
okay. Now, moving forward, another big headline this weekend in a strange turn of events was men's soccer taking down former number 1 ranked St. Olaf, former national champions, I believe.
Yeah. Just a powerhouse.
Yeah, absolute powerhouse, well-regarded program in Minnesota during their weekend trip to Minnesota. And then seemingly falling flat just 2 days later to an unranked team from Minnesota as well. I mean, quality team Mudscripts was, but at the same time, it kind of leaves you, over the past 2 years of crew soccer, especially as someone that used to play, you see this trend of there's a gap between talent and consistency. Like, I believe firmly believe this is one of the most talented soccer teams that we've ever had at UMHB. I believe it's one of the more talented Division III teams in the state, the region, and in the country. And any gap between the technical ability and our team and any other team can be made up for with some of that dog, as they say. And obviously, I still keep in touch with Ben Allen and a lot of those players, and I feel like they feel the same way. They're obviously beginning of the season, they've gone up and down, put in some quality performances against great teams like Concordia, former ASC rivals, St. Olaf, but then the next game they'll fall flat on their face to TLU and Mudscripts, and it's like, I mean, they're still quality opponents, but it's like you have to hold yourself to that standard every game, every practice, and I think they're trying to figure that out. But I like that they're showing glimpses.
I have to 100% agree with you. In an interview, I did an interview with Coach Allen, and it just seems from every single perspective that this is one of the most talented, senior-heavy teams that we've had in a minute. Preseason polls out the wazoo: defensive player of the year, preseason player of the year, offensive player, preseason player of the year. We're coming back with the midfielder player of the year from last year. We're picked to win first. It just seems like we have so much talent here, and it showed in the St. Olaf game. I mean, they're the number one team, former number one team, team in the nation. It's hard to say because in some aspects, they came out to a really good start. When they play their best, they look really good. And in other ways, it's like we are still 1-2-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle this up and down preseason, because they do have a stacked preseason. You look at the teams they play; they're playing quality teams. They've got Trinity and St. Thomas, great programs coming up soon, and after that, they've got a relatively easy ASC after all the shakeup that's gone down. And it's just going to be really interesting to see how they handle that change. Like, hopefully they get used to competing at a high level every week, and you don't see them play down to their competition, which I think is their issue right now.
Yeah.
I think they have the ability to play with and be better than anybody, but they continue to play to the competition, because, I mean, I know those guys. They went out there and they said, "Oh, you're number one. We're going to show you who's number one." And if they have that mentality every game without you needing to be number one, they'll be perfectly fine.
Do you think that, they with such a long road stretch, I mean, they've spent 2 weeks pretty much on the road the entire time, coming home for now a 5-game home streak, do you think that plays an effect? Will we see a different Crusader team, especially with fans, especially coming up with teams like St. Thomas and Trinity, like you said, really quality opponents?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of results and energy these next couple games, just because these are big games. I remember my freshman year, Trinity at home, one of the most electrifying environments I was a part of. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think the issue is, and I mean, this is all teams obviously going to play better in front of their home crowd, but it's just going to be that consistency. Can we do it week in, week out, wherever we play, in front of whoever and against whoever? But like I said, it's a long season. They've got a lot of obstacles. I think they'll be all right. It always turns around. Soccer, football. We're not used to the slow starts.
Yeah, no,
soccer, for some reason, we do this almost every year. We play quality opponents, and we seem to lose ourselves in a couple close games, but then we pick it up at the end of conference. It's going to be, can we finish strong? Like, can we continue to build and not regress as we get closer to conference and national tournament?
I totally agree with you. I have full trust in soccer. Last year was kind of the same thing. They unfortunately came up short in the tournament, but they won the regular season, and they look the most talented in the ASC. I think if they play up to their potential, the expectation should be another national tournament bid. Now,
the team that had not only shocked me a little bit, but I mean, obviously not shocking themselves, but women's soccer, I thought that there was going to be a massive step back after watching them graduate. First team all-conference defender, first team all-conference striker, loaded senior class. I mean, obviously Kelsey White coming back to play as a grad student was big. That would have hurt even more.
Yeah.
They're losing their starting goalkeeper. I thought they were going to struggle. They looked a little rough in their scrimmages, but then they went on the road and they put together some quality performances. I think undefeated since their regular season has begun.
They're
unless
not,
unless they lost to Trine.
they're not undefeated. So like, sorry to kind of budge in, but they went on the road this weekend, and we have heard that they lost their starting goalkeeper.
That's kind of where I was going with that. Is that's just heartbreaking. Not knowing exactly what happened with their starting goalkeeper Ainsley. I mean, she was great and splitting time with Reagan while she was here, and finally getting to be the full 90 starter.
Okay, whatever else y'all want to say, wrap it up.
Okay.
So I mean, they're obviously a great team that has surpassed expectations. That's obviously an injury to look out for, and obviously we're hoping that she's good because she's a crucial part of this team. And they've got a little bit of a break until they play again. Before they head into conference, so hopefully they use this time to get healthy. We get some good news, then all of these sports can just hit the ground running as they start to have some more home games and get into the games that really matter.
Definitely a big home stretch for most of these teams. Coming up this weekend is family weekend. It's a major home stretch for most of these teams. Volleyball plays their first few games at home. Football plays their first home opener. Soccer home opener, and even sports like tennis also have their home opener. So it's going to be a very busy weekend, and if you're interested in any of Crew sports, it's a great time to come out and watch.
Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure to talk to you guys and discuss everything that's been going on. Please come out and support the Crew at all of their games coming up these coming weeks.
Yeah, come out and support us. Come out and support this podcast. Hopefully we'll be back on here in a little bit, in a few weeks. But thank you for watching, and see you next time.